On your mark, get set,
Okay,
go.
chewing this thing. Sorry. Now it's stuck in my teeth.
Whew.
Welcome to the Ancient Way. I'm James.
I'm Harleah.
How you doing?
Man, sitting at 40 weeks pregnant. That's how I'm
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
Solid.
yeah, yeah.
It's been it's been a rough couple of weeks, but we're here.
We're
We're
here.
doing it.
Yeah, we're here alive. Well, we briefly talked a little bit earlier. We were kind of talking about that, I guess difficulty, but faith,
Mm-hmm.
faith opportunities. It sounds cheesy when you say that, like calling it calling it a tough time, but then saying, "Oh, it's actually just a faith opportunity." Sounds cheap, but it's real.
only if you don't only if you don't actually know it or you
Mm,
carry the weight of it.
Yeah, 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 for sure. I was talking to Tyler um, a week ago today, actually, and we were talking about faith and even like some difficult situations and going through them, but maintaining, I say choosing faith. Whenever there's no evidence that it's going to work or that it's going to turn
Mm-hmm.
out well. And we were both kind of talking about some stuff. And it's really that place where you practice, what you know, being a Christian is, heaven on earth, and like initiating, and like I say, ushering in heaven to earth in those situations through faith and through trust, bringing the kingdom here. Um, and you can't, we've said this 1,000 times before, you can't go fishing unless you're at a body of water. You can't like redeem something unless you're in something that needs to be redeemed.
Totally.
Um, but we were talking about that and talking about, like whenever you come through something like that, when you, I guess, when you actually make it through and it's solidified in you and it becomes a belief, well, then you have that and you can't take that. Nobody can take that away from you. Um, and you could even go through it again if you had to. But it's almost like there's a bank, a faith bank or a belief bank, and each time you make it through with that faith, you hold on to it and bring it in. It like fills up your bank. You get more currency or money, whatever that is. And we were talking about having, you know, sinking your roots in, but then having like faith rewarded experiences and things where you can kind of cash in on your faith and apply it to stuff even that you pray for or hope for, and that it actually comes to pass because I don't know, you've gained some level. Um, but you can cash in on things with the faith that you have accumulated. But when you cash in on it, you don't lose any of it. You
Mm-hmm.
never lose any of it. It only grows and it only compounds. But you can reach in from that bank of trust and faith and make big moves with it. Is what we were talking about. So,
It's so good though, because I think that, well, two things. I feel like we always circle back to faith
yeah.
because I think it's such a fundamental portion of our person.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the biggest thing too is like when you think about what faith comes by hearing and hearing the word of the Lord.
Yeah.
And it's like there's two modes, right? You either go into just like bear down and say, I'm having faith about this thing,
Yeah.
or you slow down and you connect to him and you say, what is the word of the Lord in this?
Hmm.
And then you hold on to that. And I think that's actually what the currency is that you're even talking about is
Yeah. Yeah.
like it is the word of the Lord that you bring into your person,
Yeah.
that you make that thing a part of you,
Hmm.
and you keep sitting with that until it fully is a part of you.
Yeah.
And then when you see that reward come in, it's almost like that stamp of like, yes, like Look at how we walk through this, Lord. Look
Yeah.
at how we did this together.
Yeah. That's good.
Like you're the builder in it. And
Yeah.
all you have to do is bring him into the boat. All you have to do is actually pull the word into your person
Yeah.
and stay with it. It's like it doesn't matter what else it looks like.
Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, you nailed it there. Um, with, clinging to the word of the Lord. He always has like a life raft. He always has like
Mm-hmm.
something there for you to latch onto, I think. There's
Oh,
always
for sure.
something there for you to choose. It's not just blind, if you're paying attention,
Hopefulness.
he's got something for you that you can,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, grasp onto.
Yeah, because I think that's actually faith. I think faith is actually geared for your maturity.
Yeah.
And so if he's giving you a word of the Lord to hold on to, it's like, okay, he's actually building me in maturity.
Hmm.
And maturity looks like, to me, it's unbridled love.
Yeah.
And it's like you start to discern the will of the Lord because you're no longer just worried about yourself. Like I
Hmm.
think that faith so many times we're only trying to apply it to our personal circumstances
Yeah.
and we're just looking for like relief out of our personal circumstances where it's like maybe there's a step further than that. Maybe it's
Yeah.
actually by faith we actually see what he's planting and we don't just make it about us. Like
Yeah.
we see what is heaven actually invading here.
Hmm.
How is heaven invading the earth through me? How am I architecting with heaven
Yeah.
in the midst of this thing?
Yeah.
And that was like we're engineers of
That's
heaven,
good. It's like,
really.
how am I
It's
strategically positioned to bring it here in this place and moment?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
that's the word that he's giving you. It's like, no, there's something different here.
Yeah.
We play by different rules, we build by different strategies.
Hmm.
Like, and it may look like an absolute cluster F, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I actually that makes me think about I had a vision um the other day that was pretty it was solid for me, just in like for my own person.
Hmm.
But in this vision experience, I don't know what it wasn't like a gentle impression. So I'll say that. Like it was like I was living it.
Okay.
And but I saw the Lord in front of me and he was eager to show me something and he grabbed my hand and he said, "Walk with me."
Hmm.
And when I walked with him, I came up over this mountain and he said, "This is the city that we're building." And I saw that the city that we were building was in a valley.
Yeah.
And instantly I said, "Why are we in the valley? Like, it just doesn't make sense." He said, "This is the city of peace. It's built in the valleys."
Hmm.
And
Wow.
I went down into the valley and I looked around and I was like, this doesn't make sense because it was surrounded by mountains.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, no, like my religious mind, I was like, no, like the city of God is built upon the hill. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
I went religious. And he said, no, 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 no. And I was like, yeah, but now we're like we can get hit by the enemy on every side. Like we're easy targets if we're building a city in the valley.
Yeah.
And he said, no, this is the Psalm 23 valley. You
Hmm.
have to build peace in the valley if you're ever going to go to the mountains.
Okay.
And I looked, and when he said that, like it's the city of peace here, making peace in the valley, right? So even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'll fear no evil.
Hmm.
Um, it's actually making peace in those spaces that you feel like you're just walking through the shadow, all these projections.
Yeah.
But I look up and it was like that Elisha thing where he said, "Now look." And then I saw the myriad of angels that were actually surrounding the tops of the mountains.
Hmm.
And he was like, it's in this place where I feel like even people's faith being stretched or like holding on to the word of the Lord is like, you're actually making peace in the valley.
Yeah.
That's actually what's happening is you are like rooting and grounding yourself in the valley where you actually see that you're completely and totally surrounded by heaven.
Hmm.
Like the strategy of heaven is so inside out.
Yeah.
Um and and to me like faith always accompanies peace. Like you may have anxiety at first, or you may feel like, I don't know. But when his word hits you, it's just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
hold on, shake out of this.
Yeah.
Um, and then you make your house in the valley.
Yeah.
And it just there was something so profound for me about it is like you get comfortable there.
Yeah.
Like get comfortable in these projections that the enemy is trying to throw at you.
Hmm.
Like you don't he actually doesn't have anything. And I think that's part of it
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah.
one of the like what you were saying the other earlier when we were on the phone of just like you can take the bait of the words of the demons
Hmm.
or of, whoever,
Yeah.
accusation or whatever, or you
Yeah.
take the words or you take the word of the Lord,
Yep.
um, and you let him build it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
anyways, so I was gonna ask you, is there a place that you feel like the Lord is leading you to actually apply the words that He's told you
Oh yeah.
that you haven't fully seen?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, heavy this year. Heavy this year specifically. I mean, just the whole month of January for me was dream after dream, all these experiences.
Mm,
Uh, had a demonic encounter as well, but it was a good. I mean, it was a good dream as far as I'm concerned. It was intended to be a threat or whatever, but I handled it in the dream,
mm,
which was good. It's always a good indicator when they show up too to threaten you because they don't, kind of run out of options and they got to do something to stop you from. But it correlates
mm-hmm,
too. It definitely happened in the midst of all of these other like really heavenly dreams um, to kind of counter that. But it's just too late. It's too late for the threats and stuff. You can't. There's no going back. And I
mm-hmm.
don't think there's anything to scare me you know, out of what the Lord has showed me. It's
Yeah.
like just give up. Um, but yeah, this year I know I don't really have too many words of the year. I guess I don't like think too much about it. But last year, do you remember that dream or that it was kind of more of a vision that I had about like generals, Christians being generals on like horseback, like in
Yeah.
these capitals of the cities, and it was raining, but we were the only ones who could ride out in the rain, which made
Mm-hmm.
me think of like even the difficulty and the discomfort of last year. It's like we survived it, made it through the rain. We're the only ones who could do that. We're like the rain riders or whatever.
Mm,
Um, but this year specifically is I've been saying it like this is the year of faith rewarded, like well done. This year there's going to be some you get to cash in on it.
mm-hmm.
You pass the test is what it feels like. And Dan Moeller, he said this, he'll say once you take a test, when you pass it, you don't have to retake it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're capable of it, even the difficult stuff. But this year, sorry, going back to your question, um, there are a bunch of opportunities that have opened up for me, and probably in every sphere, really, that I can think of. But I've had dreams where I think I shared the Conor McGregor dream on here.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I shared it last time, which that was like hey, here's a 1 in a million shot, but here's the secret. You're going to win. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks and don't season your belief with their salt. Just do it. Just listen to me and
Mm-hmm.
go through and do it. Be an example. I
Mm-hmm.
had another dream. I've had another one. There's two in a row. Um, I was up for like a promotion. Do you remember that? Do you remember that Pandora dream that I had? I woke up, I was listening to Pandora in my dream, the music app or whatever. And an ad came on and it said, for a special promotion, type in almost there or something. and it just made me think of like, hey, you're on the brink of kind of the reward stuff.
Mm.
But the other night, I'd had a dream where I was nominated the Rose King of Tyler. It's funny to say it. I don't know if that's an actual title or what, but I
It
beat out
is.
this guy. I beat out this guy named Seth by one vote. And it was like
Mm.
a 1 in a million shot. And I remember I was going through this. I was going through the city, and the Lord was with me. He was like next to me, had his arm around me. I
Mm.
was in like a, I was like at J.C. Penney's or Bell's or something, and the cashier was like, "Oh my God, you're the Rose King," and I'm like, "Shh, don't tell anybody. Nobody knows yet." I said, "Don't tell anybody."
Mm.
And the next dream that I had, the Lord walked me into a museum, and in this museum there were display cases, like glass display cases, and it was everybody, everybody's like crowns. There were like scepters, mantles. It was everybody's stuff. And the Lord was, he had his arm around me and was talking to me. He was teaching me. He said, "Hey, people," he showed me one of my little trinkets in this display case, and he said, "People are what they are before they receive their crown." He's like, "You
Hmm.
are who I preordained you to be before you even get the thing." And it
Mm.
that eliminated any urgency with me, and even the language of like, "Hey, you had this 1 in a million shot, but you're actually gonna win."
Mm.
That's a level of hope that has been, and the fact that he keeps like hammering it into my heart and my mind. Um, some of the stuff I don't even know what it's about, but some of it I think I might know what it's about, maybe. But it's just hopeful. He keeps telling me that for a reason, and then the little demon showed up in my dream to intimidate me, and it didn't work. So that's all that stuff is just ammo for me to. That's more than a life raft for me. It's like a yacht or something that I can just cruise on,
Mm.
which is a relief because last year was a kind of a nightmare.
It was a doozy.
It was a doozy, yeah. What about you? Any any words that he's given you to cling on to?
Yeah, I mean, I think I shared that dream that I had about the proposal. Did I share that on here? I don't remember.
I don't know if you shared it on here.
Um,
Share it.
well, the dream was we were all sitting around in a circle, and there was a proposal that was happening by a voice. This voice was proposing to this girl named Hope, and literally the voice was like declared like I'm engaged to Hope.
Yeah.
And I just like there was just that understanding, like the whole message, because I wasn't like even attached into the dream. I was just watching it, but it was like, no, engage with Hope. And then the voice said, as I was waking up, this is your covenant.
Hmm.
And for me, like I really clung to that because, and that was in the beginning of December, because I feel like that is the word for this year, is like to engage with Hope.
Yeah, that's good.
Like actually let that be the focal point of the covenant for you.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, and for me is like, hey, we've come into this union that we have full permission to hope in the most extreme ways.
Yeah.
Like the things that look so counter. It's like, listen, we're backed up to the River Jordan. I ain't got a clue how this thing's gonna shift out,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like the Lord will make a way. Um, I think that's, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that even play out in my own life. It's like
Yeah.
you, there are always these moments in these valleys or these, I don't know, intersection points is what they feel like,
Hmm.
where you get to make a choice. Like, okay, are you going to engage with hope? Or are you going to engage with the same pattern, the thought patterns of fear and separation? And you
Yeah.
know, feeling isolated and alone. And, because I think that's actually the greatest. I think that's ultimately kind of the two things. It's like you either engage with hope that God is actually completely for you
Yeah.
and you fully believe that,
Yeah.
or you believe that you're alone and that you've got to figure this thing out and he's just waiting on you to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, hope you make the right choice.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
which version of dad do you really want to
Yeah.
have?
Yeah.
And yeah, so for me that's like the big thing. Um is fully believing that.
Yeah.
Fully believing that the hope that he has for you
Hmm.
is unparalleled to anything else that you actually want for yourself.
Yeah.
I was actually writing this and just meditating. I sometimes hate refrigerator scriptures. I'm going to be honest. Like sometimes they annoy me.
Uh-huh.
Um, just because that like all the familiar ones you
Yeah.
just become so familiar with, and
Yeah.
it sometimes it robs the
It dilutes the the meaning from
yes,
it. Yeah.
yeah. But I felt the Lord prompt me to just go sit in Jeremiah 29:11,
Uh,
and I was kind of annoyed to be honest because I was
yeah.
like, oh, of course, like, and this was man, this was Saturday,
Okay.
and it was like I was just going to chew on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, let's actually get into this.
Hmm.
But I randomly found the King James version, like the standard version of it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was brilliant and it hit me in a whole new light. But it says, for I know the thoughts that I think towards you,
Hmm.
says the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil,
Yeah.
to give you an expected end. And
Wow.
it hit me so hard because I was like, that's hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Hmm.
So when you are hoping for something and you don't believe that there's going to be an end date to it,
Yeah.
you will start to grow weary. You will start to grow in this, will it ever happen? Is it going to happen?
Yeah.
But he's literally saying like, no, I'm giving you an expected end date.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
these things that you hope for, these things that, you're like praying about, whatever it may be, like relational things or financial things or job breakthroughs or sickness being reversed
Hmm.
or whatever it is, it's like no,
Yeah.
that thing actually has an end date. It has
Hmm.
an end date with him,
Yeah.
and so you can actually expect for that to happen,
Yeah.
you
That's
know
good.
and sit in the truth of that,
Yeah.
because all of his thoughts are for peace and not for evil.
Yeah.
um and even if you don't know him yet, it's
Yeah.
like you can bank on the fact that no, it's like no, he's got an end date for this. this
Yeah.
this is not forever. It can't be forever.
Yeah.
And no, it doesn't end in death. Like,
Yeah.
the biggest lie I hate is like,
Yeah.
well, one day when we die, it's like,
Yeah.
no, bump that. It has
Yeah.
an end date here. If you attach yourself to it, it has an end date here.
Yeah. That's
Um,
true. Yeah, that is true. That's a relief too.
well,
Golly.
to me, it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, it does.
It's like,
Yeah.
I
That
think if
that
you're
I'm
always,
gonna put that on my refrigerator, that scripture actually.
you should, yeah, gross. I'm just kidding.
That's but when I mean, like when you're eating it and like you're saying right now, that's gold.
Yeah.
That is gold. Huh.
To me, it goes so, like, that is hope,
Yeah.
right? A
Yeah.
hopeful expectation. The opposite of that is like hope deferred makes the heart sick, like
Yeah.
hope prolonged.
Right.
It's because hope being open ended
Yeah. It
is
makes you
like,
wonder too if like it makes you wonder if hope speeds it up. Like once you obtain that,
yeah.
maybe it ends much sooner than if you don't. It's just a thought. You never know.
Oh,
Whatever
it's like a
you're in.
gravitational pull.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What if that's actually the
And that's
vortex?
the secret. That's like you're saying, the way of heaven is different. It's different, seeing it from a different
Mm,
perspective. And maybe that's it. And these tough times that never end, maybe it's like you can just pump the brakes, you know,
hmm.
acknowledge the Lord in it.
Yeah.
That's one of the most difficult things I think for me sometimes is just stopping and just consulting him on, on certain things. It's easy to just keep going, you can
Oh yeah.
pray or connect to him, at any time while you're driving or whatever. But sometimes, um, it's nice to like, he's been talking to me about just sitting down and just like clearing out everything and just getting one thing at a time and just placing it here and like, let's just like, let me consult you on this thing here.
Hmm.
Let's eat the whole thing together. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, those tough situations, what you're saying is, yeah, maybe that's the key. Maybe that speeds it up and unlocks the door.
And I think there's just this element of just
Yeah.
sitting with it and acknowledging it, like
Hmm.
acknowledging him in all your ways. There's
Yeah.
another refrigerator for you.
Yep.
But like it's like acknowledging him in every thought pattern of
Yeah.
like, okay, I feel this.
Yeah.
And I know it's not true, but I feel it. Will you just sit with me in it?
Yeah.
And every time I've invited the Lord, like I had a shame storm today.
Hmm. Yeah.
And and I was like, no, I'm going to take a breath. My phone died and I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's just check out for a second.
Uh-huh.
And I just took this breath and I was like, no, you are with me in this.
Yeah.
So there's no storm that actually will overtake me,
Yeah.
even if it's a shame storm.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it
That's
was just so beautiful because as soon as you acknowledge, just like, hey, I feel this,
yeah.
I could instantly feel him being like, hey, I actually don't think that.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. I don't even see you that way.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's like, oh, yeah, like
Yeah. What a relief.
silly me.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. It's like that scripture, delight in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. You can
Hmm.
delight in the Lord in those moments. You think the desire of your heart is like, get me out of this. I'm done with this. But it's actually the desire of your heart is like having a whole heart.
Oh, it's him.
It's him, but he's gunning for that wholeness,
Totally.
which takes you out of it, but you come out of it full.
Hmm.
You know, it all hinges on that
To
connecting.
me, yeah, it makes me think, that scripture in Ecclesiastes where it talks about like eternity is set in the heart of all men.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
when you sit, you actually can get into eternity.
Yeah.
Like you get sucked up into the heavenlies, and then
Yeah.
that's where I think vision will come, and that's where I think like you'll start to see other things like the angels that surround you that they're
Yeah.
so eager to actually help you navigate these things. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not all like there's such a limited perspective I think we often carry, especially us religiousized people,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where we think it's just us and the Lord. And it's like, yes, but also he created a myriad of angels to walk with us.
Mm-hmm.
He has sent us
Yeah. Support.
mass support
Yeah.
and not just angels, but these creatures. And it's like all of heaven is actually cheering for you
Mm-hmm.
to step into hope, to
Yeah.
step into faith, to like the angels long not just to look into it, that yes, they long to look into this thing, but they love to partner with us because we're the forerunners of it.
Yeah.
We're the ones that actually get to go before and they get to bring in the support and they love it. They
Mm-hmm.
love it.
Yeah.
And like we are not bound by this two-dimensional, three-dimensional world
Right.
um, by any stretch of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so profound. It's like if you're feeling alone, ask the Lord, like, hey, will you not only just show up? Because the only thing the angels actually want to do is to actually like they are the winds, and the
Yeah.
fire literally coming from him.
Yeah.
Like they love to be around his presence just as much as they love to be around us because we're
Right.
carriers of his presence,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like, ask him for those, for the angelic, ask him
Yeah.
for the ones that are supposed to walk with you.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, like those are such pivotal, that changes the game too for me,
Yeah.
is when you realize like, hey, you're not actually just contending in this by yourself and just with the Lord.
Yeah. There's partnership.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's good.
On all fronts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
good.
and I think sometimes things don't shift for people because
Uh,
they don't step into the authority that they were given.
yeah.
Where they don't exercise the very things, like they're asking God or they're begging God to make a move or whatever. And he's like, dude, I'm waiting for you to make my
Yeah.
enemies my footstool. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
I want you to actually cast that thing out. I want you to actually just start practicing
Yeah.
throwing some fireballs, throwing
Yeah.
some swords.
Absolutely. Maturity. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I want you to start taking some shots.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
But anyways, those are a lot of the things I've been thinking about.
Yeah, good. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, dispatching angels and specific, they have
Mm-hmm.
specific functions sometimes, and yeah, who knows unless you ask or whatever. You get to find out.
Yeah.
But then, even like the authority, like all of creation is groaning, waiting for us, and then he's waiting on us. It's like the ball really is in our court. It's like he gave us all this stuff to do and use, he weaponized us big time.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of us, we can just kind of sit there and we're surrounded with, got a rocket launcher over here and, weapons and grenades and stuff, but it's like, use them.
Oh yeah.
We're built to use them. We're built you know, to do stuff. It's really exciting too. The good thing is like, it doesn't matter where you're at. Yeah, I've been feeling this too. It's like if anybody feels, ashamed or like left behind or stuck or whatever, it's like you literally wherever you're at, all you got to do is just ask him like, "Hey, let's just start right now," and he'll just like wipe your canvas like spotless right then and there. Wherever you are, it's like, let's have a fresh start or a clean slate. Can I have that? And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're good. Start now."
Oh yeah.
Um,
I think the key is to see yourself that you already have it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
already have the clean slate. Like
yeah.
it's
Let him tell you that. Let him
oh
show you
yeah.
that you're already good. And it's
Yeah.
like, let him just confirm that.
And the judgment that you put on yourself is actually not real.
Yeah. Yeah. If we heard him, if people could hear him say, "Hey, at any moment in time when you're feeling shame, just like ask me and I'll just tell you you're good." If he
Yeah.
just was there and you were able to consult him like, "Man, I feel like this." It's like, can you hit restart?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's already done. You're good."
Mm-hmm.
That's how it really is. To the point where it's like, "Oh, okay, I'm good. I can't mess up. He's with me no matter what." Um, yeah, that's good. Also, I've been feeling, I've been on this trail too. He's been encouraging me the value of writing,
Mm.
like really the value of writing and how much power that carries. One is just for like getting your stuff out there, getting his stuff that he gives you out there, and like processing, but also like I was like writing to other people,
Mm.
writing and like having that level of communication and really relaying stuff to people. I don't know. I've been thinking like
Hmm.
writing to people on like it's just a deeper level, some of the stuff that comes through. And it's an invitation and a participation to like if somebody writes something to me and they give it to me, it's an invitation for me to partner up with and join and experience their inner being, their thoughts and stuff.
Mm,
It's kind of a collaboration, but he's been talking to me about like writing and stuff like that, the power of it. I don't know what to do with it. I've been writing, my notes for myself and stuff, but um, anyways, it's a fun one. Writing's good, basically, is what I'm saying.
it is. And exploring that, I
Yeah,
think, is so, so crucial,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I love exploring it. Like, I am a terrible writer. Um,
Yeah,
it doesn't come naturally to me, I should say.
really?
And yeah, but it's funny that you say that because I started writing probably back in December of just
Hmm.
like these free flows.
Oh,
You know,
cool.
when you get into a flow state and you just
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
And it's like some of the most profound, like I was shocked that I could say some of these things. I was
That's
like, holy
cool.
crap. I mean, I'm probably till the Lord tells me to share it, but
Yeah.
not planning on sharing it. Um,
Yeah, that's cool.
but yeah, it's just it unveils an aspect of people's hearts that
Hmm. Yeah,
I think is very hard to do sometimes with language.
yeah.
Like
Well,
speaking
it requires
anyways.
you like really sitting with something and like deliberating on it
Uh-huh.
before you write it sometimes too. Or if you're trying to get a point across, you can just like really go all out with it. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
There's more intention in it, I think, than talking.
There's definitely layers, I think.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I mean, doesn't even Habakkuk say like write the vision?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Our
That's really cool though.
our producer is telling us we have less than 2 minutes left.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well, this was good.
it was good.
Hopefully we'll start spitting a few more of these out before the baby comes, but we'll
We'll
see.
get there. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. It's a bridge. It's a little bridge season right now.
It's true though.
It's what it is.
All
All
right,
right.
guys. We'll see y'all next time.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Ancient Way podcast, drop us a like, share with your friends, share with your family. And if you'd like to support us and what we are doing, and you would like to play a direct role in our growth and things that we do in the future,
we have a donation spot at the bottom of our show notes. So you can click on that, give however much you want. We appreciate absolutely everything. We appreciate our listeners. And everybody that's already come alongside and encouraged us, and even everybody that's been on our show. So thanks, guys.